Welcome to episode 5 of the F1MG Podcast, the Miami Grand Prix. Back in the United States at a regular time, guys. We don't have to wake up at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning to watch. But here we are with the crew. We got Dolcetto, we got McButters, and Jinx today. We'll get to everyone's picks and roundtables in a second, but want to throw out a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Again, if you use our promo code F1MoneyGang, you get a 100% deposit match if you've never done this before. So if you've done it before, you will not get that 100% deposit match. So a huge shout out to them, as well as Grid Rivals too, F1 Fantasy Sports app. Again, you could still play. It's still not too late, but anyways, they're one of our sponsors. So yeah, we got the Miami Grand Prix. So we're looking at the C2, C3, C4 compounds. This one is going to have this one's going to be a little different with the track. This is going to have actually a pretty rough surface compared to the last two. So tire degradation is going to be kind of key here, as well as the heat, humidity. Well, we got actually one of our own that will be down there live actually at the track, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, the track evolution is going to be quite high. I'd say it's more of a front limited type of track, so front tires are going to be a little bit weary as you're getting into a lot of the corners and the chicanes. So yeah, guys, we're finally here. First of 3 United States races. How do you feel about that? Aren't you excited?
Oh, I can't
Well,
wait.
of course. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy to say 1 of 3 now.
Yeah, right? We got 3 on the calendar.
It's just
So,
good that we're
yeah.
getting more races in a normal time frame. Like it's not like you said 4 or 5 a.m. We can actually
Yeah.
feel how
All
it
for
is for
that.
the rest of the world.
It was actually annoying this past weekend because with all the stuff going on in our daily lives, I had to work around it and then wake up and go back to bed and wake up and like check the stats and whatnot. And it's just, I'm just not in for that time. But yeah, Mech, you are actually in Florida, and it looks like you might be going or are going. Have you confirmed?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, okay.
What
We're
kind of
ready to
seats
go.
are you
Boots-
getting?
boots
And
on the ground,
we're
guys.
sitting
Boots
right
on the
there.
ground.
I got the marina tickets, so I'll get I might take a dip or something, but I have first row of the
Nice.
water.
All
Nice.
right. So we're waiting
Yeah.
for some
Yeah.
picks in the Discord. We're gonna be waiting for all the fun stuff.
Listen, whenever my bets run into the wall, I'll be the first one to see them.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's funny. And
Yeah.
today we got actually Jinx on the podcast. Jinx, is this your first time on the podcast this year? I think we've done
Second.
5 episodes.
I think it's second.
Or second?
No, I was here for Australia.
Okay. Yeah, Australia. Well, we got an update on Jinx. We'll save that for later. But how are you feeling, my friend? I know last weekend was really fantastic for you, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I believe I went 14-5 last week. I went 2-1 in qualifying. If you guys follow our socials, I hit a 34-1 qualifying bet, but I had it boosted to 42.5-1 with Leclerc on Cedar Sportsbook. And this was basically 25-1 on all books. MGM had it 16-1. Leclerc had won the pole in 2021 and 2022. I expected Sainz to give him a tow. That didn't happen. Just Leclerc did it all on his own. Won the sprint qualifying and the race qualifying. So yeah, I put a unit on that, so I won over 40 units on that. I also had Leclerc top 3 in qualifying, and that was at plus 175. And then I lost 3 bets on the weekend on McLaren. The first of was Russell to be top 6, and he was, I believe, P5 in Q1, and then he got bumped out in Q2. Had a poor exit of the last sector, got in the curbs and anti-stalled, so they just pitted, and Piastri had a monster lap. Hamilton actually pitted, and Piastri picked up a monster.
Yeah. No, it was a solid weekend, a solid outing. I think it was our probably since we've been doing this, it's almost a year, guys, by the way, since we've started this whole thing. This was the race last year where I get a Twitter message from a random guy named Integrity Bets, I believe, at the time. I think that was your
He
name.
was fifth. Yeah.
No, it was
fifth.
Randy Marsh
Yeah,
at the time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
It was
it's Randy Marsh, yeah.
Randy Marsh, and then Lights Out. Lights Out F1 Bets, and I thought it was Lights Out F1 Blog for a little bit, but obviously I was a little tipsy at that moment. Yeah, and that's where it began. It's just like that was where we started like communicating with each other, and then I think a month later we started the Discord. Which, by the way, I do want to give a shout out to everyone here. And if you haven't already, we are posting articles at f1moneygang.com, so you can go out, you can see a lot of the stuff we are talking about today. So like race previews, recaps, early bets, early leans. So if the podcast is not enough for you, please check out our website or just jump in the Discord. Everything is live in the Discord. We constantly have action and talking about lines and everything. So, but let's go ahead and let's get into it. So let's see, Dolcetto, why don't you give us? So we got Jinx's recap, which was probably one of the biggest hits we've had since we started this thing. Give us a recap of what else happened in back to GP.
Well, I will speak for Lights. I think that he went 11-0 in the pick'ems across underdog, across price picks. The guy just was just giving you money, just print. It was lineup after lineup, and just want to give him a shout out and everybody who contributed in the Discord. I also want to mention that we're about 8 people away from 1,000 members in the Discord. So if you're not in it, like Capper said, get in there. We always drop plays, which leads me to the next point. Is I'm not a guy that brags a lot, but I did go 8-0 in the Discord, and I'm proud of it. And if you were in the Discord, you saw it. You might have played it, you might not, but I highly encourage. There's lots of smart people in the Discord. Get in there, get the plays. And also DFS. I want to talk about DFS a little bit. We have a not a very big crowd of people who play DFS, but there's a few guys out there who play DraftKings, who play Grid Rival. And I just want to give a shout out to Garrett in the Discord, who's one of the 2-3 biggest contributors in the DFS site. I'm not sure if he did it or not, but if he played in the biggest F1 tournament last weekend, he would have finished in first place. He gave a number 1 lineup. I looked up his stats. I play in the biggest tournament every week. He would have won it. So I want to give him a shout out. And that means in the last 4 races, I gave one first place in DFS for DAK in the biggest tournament, and he did as well. So guys, if you love DFS, get in the Discord. Lots of lineups, lots of information is being shared.
Yeah, I think this is the weekend I'm going to go probably crazy with DFS price picks because also we can just do all these things at a decent time and not like early morning kind of thing when they all post. But it was pretty impressive what he's doing. It's also fantasy, right? He's posting fantasy stuff as well. So if you need fantasy picks, right? Yeah.
And also I want to bring up the community bet. It was an early one, so thanks to Renegade in the UK who started the voting early morning for us, the folks in the west side of the world. We had Checo and Leclerc to finish on podium, and that was at plus money, and we are now 3-1 on the year, 17-4 overall. We could have been 4-0, but thanks to those 2 French boys in Australia, we are unfortunately 3-1. But yes, community bet has been just killing it. We have one of our Discord members who keeps track of those. He actually said that if we bet the top 3 choices in the community bet, you would have swept. So there's lots of good bets in the community bet that people give us a shout out. So make sure, again, get in the Discord.
Was it just the top 3, or was it like if you bet
Good
all
record
of them?
overall.
He only did I think the top 3 choices, and he said if anybody played the top 3, he would have won. I don't think that he kept track of he only kept track of the top three by voting. Wise.
Yeah.
So.
Just for the
No, it's
listener.
all bets with 2 or more votes.
Oh, okay, that was it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
And
right.
just for the listeners, this week's community bet was, or the top vote was Perez and Leclerc on podium at plus 200.
That's
The
crazy.
second was Max Verstappen leader after 5 at plus 125, which is funny because I did the Perez leader after 10 laps at like plus 850. I posted it to you guys in a private chat because that was kind of off from what another line was. And then the last one was Magnussen to beat Hulkenberg minus 110.
I think that was
Yep.
that was
that
a
was
good play.
That was, yeah. I mean, from the beginning, that was going to win. I think a lot of us actually placed that bet already. So
We did, yeah, we did.
yeah. So I missed out on the Perez Leclerc on podium. I guess again, didn't wake up in time. Something.
Yeah. Sounds
Well,
good.
you missed more than that.
Yeah, I missed a lot. I missed a lot. Let me just put it that way. Long weekend. As Bill Belichick would say, we're on to Cincinnati.
On to Cincy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, let's get into this weekend. I hope that we can all repeat, especially any long shots. I would love to hit a long shot like that. Anything like 25 plus to win. So who wants to go first with their pick this weekend? Who's got the most confidence right now in their pick?
I'll go first.
Boom. Let's hear
I
it.
cut out a little bit on the recap. I did go 7-3 in the race. Just missed out on Mercedes over Aston Martin and Russell over Stroll. And then I also missed out on Zoe over That was RS. But for this week, I'm liking Alpine to be best of the non-top 4. So not including Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Aston Martin. On DraftKings, for them to be the winning qualification team, they are plus 150. So basically versus McLaren is their top competition. Qualifying wise, this should be a track like Bahrain and Jeddah, and they won both of those. McLaren really should struggle this weekend. This is a very, very heavy engine, a lot of high speed, and McLaren struggles there. And then also for the race, it's plus 130 for Alpine. Whatever you feel more comfortable with. Put a bit more risk involved with the qualifying because it just depends on a couple of hot laps. But race, they definitely should hit that. I don't really feel like any of the other two teams have any comp. To the Alpine, just depends on if Gasly and Ocon are going to mess up. I feel like no one else is going to have a shot at a double top 10 aside from those two teams.
You know where I stand on Alpine. I will probably keep betting, and I did actually just now because I almost forgot to. Top 10. I just have to do it every week.
Yeah, but I mean, this week, this week we just have them to beat really McLaren or Haas, really. I mean,
I'll tell you this. I would rather have yours at. Did you say plus one?
Plus 130 for the race. Yeah. Plus 150 for qualifying. The top of the non-big 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, barring DNF from any of the big 4, those teams are going to be far and ahead the best anyways. So we're just getting a better value just to beat, some of the back, the mid-pack and back marker teams. So just, get some value there because you never know when either the Alpine guys are going to, mess up. And Ocon's, it's been a strange year from him. Last year he had 2 DNFs all of last year. And I believe he only was outside the points 3 or 4 times, and now he's been out of the points back-to-back races.
Yeah, and that's always been the crutch with I guess Alpine, Gasly. I mean, they just get in their own ways. Otherwise, the car is good, car's fast. Had one of the top trap speeds last week before. And they just had a terrible weekend, just an awful weekend. It's funny because I was like backing them in every way almost. I felt like just terrible weekend. So I could see them totally rebounding this weekend for sure. They should definitely be in that. But yeah, I like it. Definitely, for sure. You don't have to convince me, the Alpine boys. But I like your odds for sure on that without the top 4.
Yeah, and that is DraftKings.
I was
Just
about to ask
to
which
repeat
one.
that. Yeah, I believe that's only DraftKings. I've looked on all the other major U.S. books, and nobody else has non-top 4 winning teams.
All right. Well, who's next?
Go
Who
ahead,
wants to
Chris.
go next?
I'll go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, of course, it's Friday. Just can't keep my hands away. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be there. So we're definitely going to throw a FE1 pick. We're going to go with just some old trends. And we're going to go with Charles, top 3, -120. Last race, every single session, I believe he was either top 3 or top 2. And in Miami, every single session last year, he was top 2 or top 3, 1 to 2. He had a great success last year. I don't really trust him throughout the weekend, throughout the race with the tire variation, but they still have the speed and the power to get one hot lap in. I think at 120 there's a steal. Definitely gonna roll with that one. That's located on Bovada. Then we're gonna take another dip in the margin. Last week we took the over. It was kind of a weird FP1 though with the sprint and everything. Really didn't get to dip into that trend of all the overs going over. But we're gonna go back with the over this time, and that's right now it's priced at 155, and so it'll be the winning margin over 0.25.
And you got that Russell. I love the Russell pick.
Yeah, I was gonna wait for a little later, but for the race, race day, I'm gonna take. I'm taking him.
We can wait. We can wait. We'll bring that. We'll bring it back up. We'll bring it back up. Let's talk about it because it's free money Friday. I know free money Friday has been a little struggle. I will say we've been out of sync too. We haven't had this last week. We had.
I mean, it was just
one practice.
Qualifying.
But we are posting in the Discord the trends now. It's, I guess the way we look at it is the first, 4 or 5 races are kind of like a preseason for us, right?
Yeah.
We're learning these cars, drivers, whatever. Now we got a little bit more that we can put to the trend to make these bets for Fridays. I will say, guys,
they've gotten a little looking more at FP2 than tomorrow or Friday.
They've definitely caught on FPs. The books are getting a little sharper on these things. So
maybe they're in our Discord. Maybe that's why.
Very
true. We know some, but maybe
definitely do.
Not much of a secret at this point.
I won't mention any names, but I know Jinx loves him.
Yeah.
Jinx is looking at the list right now, right?
Yeah, he's probably cursing with the mic on mute.
Ready to shoot that GIF out there.
It's not just one book. I mean, there's a couple books that that are they don't know F1, and that's okay. That's what we're around. We're here to help people out learn F1, and if we have to teach the books about F1, we're willing to do that as well.
And that's but we will. And that's what we're about. Like, we are all on the same team. We all want to see the best for everyone, whoever joins, except if you're a bookie. If you're a bookie in the Discord, you can go fuck yourself. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But anyways, neither here nor there. All right, Dolcetto. I'm going to save myself for last because I'm not confident in mine. But
all right. Well, last week I went and I tried this whole qualifying bet on the podcast, and it didn't work out the way that I wanted to work. So I'm going to stick with what I do best, and I will stick with the race bets, even though it's too early, but I know the odds are going to go down. And I'm going to take this 2-driver parlay, Russell into the top 10, and Stroll into the top 10. So I was looking at, last year's race. I can the odds on that one is -122 on FanDuel. I placed it about an hour before the pod, so I'm sure that odds have not moved much. This being Wednesday still. Not many people are betting F1 except the crazy ones like we are. But I was looking at the trends last year. Lance started from the pit lanes. He started the race. He finished in the top 10 in qualifying. In Q1, he finished in 6th place. In Q2, he finished in 8th place. This year, the Aston Martin is better than last year's. And when I was looking at it, like they had the penalty in qualifying, so they had to both start from the pit lane, and Lance went through half the grid, and he finished in 10th place, and that was in a like less powerful car. I'm liking this very much, and so far this year, I have seen it that him and Russell have been in the points in every race except one. And like Stroll had the issue in Saudi Arabia with the engine, and Russell had the issue in Australia where he caught fire. So bearing any engine issues, both of them should be in the points. I think that this is fairly easy, unless there's a penalty or anything like that. But George last year he finished in fifth place in the race. He started in Ford, I believe it was, but he's got that nickname, Mr. Consistency. So I think that you're looking at these two props. I think both can finish in points, and at those odds, I'll bet it any day. So that's what I got.
They
I call
actually
you.
started in 12th last year. Got
Yeah.
to 5.
Was it 12? Oh, okay. I don't know why I have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shoot, maybe I was.
Now
Wow.
it's clicking. Now it's clicking.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. All right, but still, like it's still like at these odds right now. If you bet it, almost even money, I will take it any day.
And just for everyone, all of us may have a different style and how we make bets and whatnot. Dolcetto is probably the best at spotting parlay odds. That is such a safe. Well, I don't want to say safest, but one of the safer bets, because it's very rare that the Aston Martin or McLaren, both drivers, will be out of the top 10. It has to be like an absolute disaster.
Yeah, I agree.
For them to be out. And in this track, they're both pretty much gonna they both will be in that like top 6 fighting for it. I mean, it's actually a good track. I think it's a good track for them. Now, I know Red Bull's on another level, but for these cars, it should be perfectly fine for them. So
yeah, and like this is like Stroll is like almost like a home race, being close to home, Canada. He wants to show all the Canadians in America, hey, we got this. So I think it's a good bet. So I hope we catch it.
No, I like it. Obviously, I'm on both those guys in some way, form, or fashion. But for me, I did not want to play one of these picks. I wanted to play something different as my bet for the pod. And I'm going with the over 2.5 liters at 135, minus 135. I almost did this last week. I've been spying these odds constantly, and last week it started around the same. This is the type of track that I was just looking up what the pit stop speeds were, but regardless of how long the pits take, it's only going to be one stopper unless there's yellows, reds, whatnot. Of course, that will help in my situation. But the gap between Leclerc, Perez, and Max has closed in a little bit. So, and you saw last week how, Leclerc was on pole. He got the first lap easy, and then Max overtook. That was just 2 right then and there. Obviously, throughout the race, they were all very within like a second and a half of each other. I know that Max can clearly get away. He's got a very, very fast car. But looking at last year, even if the same thing happens, if Leclerc ends up on pole again, you're going to definitely see that he's going to keep challenging until his tires just fell off on like the 8th or 10th lap. And that's when Max was able to attack. And then that's when the pit action goes in. Throw in the mix of Checo. Checo's then now in the equation. He's going to be very close to Max. He is fighting for this championship. Let's not forget. He's in the mix with Max, even though Max is superior to him. So over 2.5 is definitely my lean here. By the time it gets to the race, if Leclerc is on pole, those odds are going to be minus 175, minus 200 for sure. That's my pick.
I like it.
Good to me.
Yeah. So we've got some best bets. Obviously, it's early. It's Wednesday night. There's still so much to be happening. This may be our best bet now. It could maybe be the fifth best bet that we have. We won't know until we get to Friday, Saturday. I'm really looking forward to a weekend of just F1. It's actually going to be raining here in my side of town, so there's not much I can do other than watch sports and F1. So I'm excited about that. Um, but let's just go back. Let's do a quick roundtable. Let's talk about. I mean, give us like what are you looking for in a bet if there is a particular bet, or if you have a long shot bet that you want to throw out there that you really like, have bet however you want. Who wants to go first?
Jinxie, go ahead, man. Let's hear it.
I know Jinx has something up his
Oh,
sleeve.
he's got.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll bring up is I looked this week going back to last year, about mid last year. The chaos factor that we saw, early and mid last year really seems to have stabilized. If you go back to Singapore, we've had at least 17 cars classified since then.
Mm-hmm.
So, it seems like, we're really only having 1-2 cars DNF based off of a mechanical issue. And then, we might have one car crash. Like last week we had DeVries crash. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The teams really have a handle on the cars right now. They're not taking risks. Especially, I mean, last week we had this sprint. So we did have 3 weeks off before that. So this week maybe it's different. We had the huge long straight last week. Now we have 2 really long straights here. Last year was kind of a cluster the second half of the race, so that's something to keep in mind. The other thing I'm really looking at is how Ferrari handles the tires. Last year they had a front wheel lockout, and they kind of struggled on the hard tires. We saw that again in Jeddah, and then we saw that again last week. I know Alonso said in his post-race interview that, Action, they're at their best on the hard tires, and Ferrari's struggling, and he almost got Leclerc last week. So, looking to focus in again on Ferrari and on one lap hot laps, possibly fading them in the race.
Yeah, I think that's definitely still a play, and especially with what I kind of was talking about earlier, when we're talking about the circuit roughness of all the circuits. We went to Australia having one of the least amount of like micro roughness of the track surface, and Baku is the same way. Now we're back to one of the highest of they say I guess I looked up the stat a while ago. It's the micro roughness of the Miami surface, and I know it was resurfaced, but regardless, that is like one of the highest on the circuit calendar. That is definitely not going to bode well for Ferrari. I mean, that's why I said for last year's race, I think Leclerc was leading up until a point, and it just completely like the wheels almost fell off. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing too to note is last year I don't believe anyone, aside from the back markers, really used soft tires. Everyone mostly in the front started mediums and went right to hard. So kind of like last week in Baku, they went mediums right to hard. So it should be a one-stopper, barring safety car, that could always throw a wrench into it, but probably a one-stopper.
Oh, and let's not forget that one accident between, was it Norris and, was it Gasly? I can't remember.
Last year?
Yeah.
It was
last year,
Norris,
wasn't it?
Yeah, Norris and Gasly.
Yeah, well, what had happened with that was Alonso got into the rear of Gasly, and that messed up his car. And then,
he did. Yeah.
Coming into the long straight, he went wide, and then when he rejoined the track, he didn't know Norris was right behind him, and that caused chaos for both of those cars. That was a retirement. And that really started the chaos, and because of that, Alonso had a 5-second penalty, which took him out of the points.
Yeah. No, I think he'll be fine. I think if you're gonna rank it, I still think that you have Aston Martin, Mercedes. They're gonna really be duking it out this weekend. Leclerc will be up there, but Sainz is just, I don't know. He's been struggling a little bit this year. It's like he hasn't been liking the car. And we know where Perez and Red Bull. Can I just say, this season has been actually more interesting now that Checo is actually putting pressure on Max. It is making me love what I'm watching. It's not like the best season ever, but it makes it more exciting knowing that like Max is not running away with it just yet. He's got his teammate.
It has a feel of a Rosberg Hamilton one.
Yeah, right, doesn't it? That's
a little
that
bit.
now. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't
yeah.
know.
I'm
I'm sure Checo will win at Monaco again, and everyone will be like, "Oh, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
race," and then Max
I
wins
know.
8 straight.
Well, what if
Yeah.
Checo wins on Sunday? That's it's gonna be
No,
interesting.
that's not true, because we know who's going to win.
Russell at
The
20
man.
or whatever.
George Russell.
George Russell.
Oh yeah, I guess since we're there,
Well, while we're there, then Integrity, tell us what your second bet or your
listen.
second best bet
first
was.
off, I'm just gonna blame this all on Jinx. He's got me horny for some 2300s. But yeah, I took a long shot. George Russell top 2. Oh, I took him top 3 as well, but it's only plus 400. I don't even want to talk about that right now. Top 2 though is, let me check it, plus 2500. Last year FP1 second, FP2 first. Shitty qualifying, but had a lot of overtakes. Got some ground back. He's had a pretty. He's been. I mean, what is it? Top 5 just about every year this year so far, or every race. So I think he's done just enough for me to consider it, and I just really want to cash a ticket like that live in person.
Yeah. I mean,
And hey, listen, Mercedes not the fastest, not the greatest,
no, but
they're reliable.
But this
They'll make it
track,
off the finish line.
this track actually suits them well. Which I mean,
And
for
Lewis, I'm
limited
not
track,
really worried about him. I think
Yeah.
I think that's kind of over.
they get a lot of their speed in like the chicanes, like the that we're gonna see this weekend, these front limited type tracks. So they're gonna see, and that's what, look at last year. Russell just, I guess, was loving the Miami like circuit just in general. Just happened to love it more than Hamilton. So wouldn't surprise me.
All right, say like, are Red Bulls bringing in some upgrades this week?
Yeah, that's
Looks
what I
But-
read.
it's
Yeah.
going.
But
All
I
right,
bet you.
So
I bet
Checo
you,
goes poof, lap
Yeah.
10. All right, we already know Ferrari's probably going to drop
listen,
down.
we already know what's
Okay.
going to happen. They're all three going to
It's right there.
going to wreck into each other. We're all going to just be like in awe about it. Like, oh my God, we're going to get a wild race, right?
That's it.
Is that what's
feel
going to
it
happen?
in my bones. I wish some lines I don't have though are some Williams. I think this is a good spot for them. We've kind of been talking about them all year, but we really haven't really placed any kind of wagers on it. Really, because I haven't had that many.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that changes this weekend. I think it's going to be a team. They keep saying, I
Williams?
feel like Williams. Plus, it's our boy's home race. You got to do it for the guy.
I feel like if
We
we're
just
gonna,
really haven't got any love,
we-
really.
I mean, we've been showing them love on the fastest speed.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
just-
By the way, we talked about that last week, right? You know, it hit.
Yeah.
We were talking about like, well, Dolcetto, you asked about what do you guys think about the fastest speed Williams?
That was
We
what
said
I
Haas.
But you said Haas.
we had Haas, and we had a
And Haas, and we had a guy go in there, and he put some real money on it.
Yeah.
He put real money on 22 to 1, and it hit.
Yeah, that
So-
was good.
Yeah,
Just
that
at
was
another day.
F1MG fam. That's it.
right, yeah.
F1MG.
That's right.
Okay, so what's the long shot? And I know Dolcetto, that's not like something you normally do, but if there was a long shot, what is one that you would probably think about?
I'm taking the
Ease.
king of the street circuits, Checo, to win. It's only plus 330. I know it's not really like a long shot, but he has shown that every race, and he's got, I want to say, same car as Max, and he's the king of street races. So I think that this being one upgrades. I mean, I would love nothing more than a Russell win, me being a Mercedes fan, but
I just need top 2, baby.
there you go. Yeah, there you go. And but that's probably one that I would like. And that was the next thing that I was gonna say was when you're doing your fantasy lineups, it's key to me at least, and so far I have found it successful in the lineups every week. Is like whoever you think is gonna win the race, just spend the extra money and put them as captains. You're gonna get 1.5 points extra. And last week I loved Checo, and I wish I put money on him to win the race in real life, but that's how that's how it was. So I really loved it. So I
Yeah,
think
that's
I
a
like
good
it.
one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Honestly, I mean, there's quite a bit that I could. I mean, I
I
don't
know.
think.
I saw a good one from our old pal,
Yeah, let's hear it.
Renegade. He had a good one today.
Oh yeah,
Which
he
one?
did post one.
Um,
Yeah.
Which one is
It
that one?
was the winning position to start in second is plus 240, and then you
That's
can
right.
get either third and fourth for plus 500. Max won last year.
Oh,
I think he
nice.
started in third or fourth.
Did he start in third last year?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it wasn't one or two. I know that. So yeah, I think that's in play.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that
Oh.
Renegade also had the Sergio to be the fastest qualifier at plus 550. I think that was one of his like kind of long shots. I think, but I'm not
Interesting.
sure. I have to go back and look at it.
Oh, I might have to tail one or two of those, or all of them. That's right. I did do or FP1 top 3 George Russell plus 600. That was one I did already lock in. I think if we're just basing off of Friday from last year, maybe he has a chance, because this is what I'm still trying to get a feel of. We haven't had a lot of these. I mean, Australia, we didn't really get a true FP2 session. So we only had like one session on a Friday, one session on a Friday this last race. But if for any reason Ferrari continues to turn down their engines and like Friday and save it for Saturday, there's a high chance Russell can be up there, because he's going to try to go for it every time in those sessions. So I think that it's at plus 600. I would take that. I mean, you can even, if you are just bullish on Mercedes in general, you can also take Hamilton at the same price. So,
What's the fun in that?
Yeah.
but yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that was one. All right. Well, I know
Should we
there's
do
more
our
we can.
favorite game. Should we do that?
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh man, I'm not
But
even
can
prepared.
I just
Yeah.
give out to shout out to Lights last week. He had Checo 1,
Did he
Max,
get it? Did he get it right?
Max 2, and 3. He picked up Lewis though, but he had the top 2 in there, so he was the closest
Nice.
one of the group. I had them reversed.
Yeah, I think that's
So
what
was
it is.
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris
That
had
was
Carlos
way
in
off.
third. So
Oh, what the fuck was that thing?
Yeah.
and,
Carlos.
yeah, you had George. Yeah, you had Charles and Lewis. So yeah, you didn't do too hot.
All right. This week, I will actually try to be serious, because we're in the United States. It's our home race. You
And
know,
Russell
I
will
wanna try to
win
be serious.
this week, all right?
Right.
All
Right.
so
I don't want to jinx it.
Russell, K Mag, Logan. Got it.
Oh, all right. I want us to take notes, because I do track these, so it's fun.
Good. Good.
All right, so
All
what's
right.
yours, Cap? You go first this week.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm actually gonna say Checo, number 1.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna say Alonso 2.
Alonso. He has not been getting lots of love. Last week, I don't think anybody.
No.
I think Integrity mentioned that nobody picked him in the top 3.
He
gonna
didn't
say
do too
Al-
hot either, did he?
I'm gonna say
Last week.
Alonso 2, and I'm gonna say Hamilton 3.
All right, you always gotta put a Mercedes.
I'm gonna. I said I wasn't gonna go too crazy. I still,
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Max going to DNF then?
I feel like something's gonna happen to Max, whether it's something like between him and Leclerc, like trying to battle, or just get stuck with some red flag. I don't know, but
Hit a
yes,
wall, catch some
something,
damage, drop.
something will happen. Yes, I feel like something will happen. But again, this is just for fun.
Yeah.
Disclosure to anyone listening: do not bet these as like your top three. Let's just
Yeah.
be.
This is just a
real.
fun
I mean,
game
This
with
is
you.
not going to hit. Yes.
If you have been this whole time and you're still doing it, what is
yeah,
wrong
this
with you?
is just
Call the number.
fun. This is just for fun.
Jinx,
So.
what do you got, man? Top three. What's your
I'll
top
break it
three?
down. No, I'll go a little bit serious. I'll go Max. You know, last week get caught out in the safety car. Who knows what happens? Probably dominates that race, like the previous race in Australia. If he doesn't get caught out in the safety car, still go Max to win. Go Perez second. Last year he was pretty fast, but he had a sensor issue, so that's why he finished fourth. If anyone looks at the tape and is like, why did both Ferraris beat Perez last year? That's why he lost about 30 seconds in the span of 2 laps. And they almost had to retire the car. So we'll go Perez too. And then third, I will go Alonso. Just not impressed at all from Jeddah and last week with Ferrari on the hards. And Jeddah and Baku, Aston Martin looked pretty good on the hards. So we'll take Alonso to round out the podium.
All right. Chris, what about you?
Checo, Russell, Alonso.
Checo.
Okay. We have some issues with Max. I think I'm along with Cap. Maybe some damage. Not really DNF.
Yeah.
Fall
I
back.
don't know, yeah.
Maybe put another hole in the side pod and bitch the whole
Something
time.
happened. Yeah, something's gonna happen.
Something like that.
All right.
But
I mean-
yeah, and I think both Ferraris have both dropped back. So I really just watching Mercedes and Aston Martin.
Yeah. I got Max first, Alonso second, and Perez third. That's what I got. Again, I'm going safer, but I'm going to hit it one of these weeks. Just been unlucky. So, all right. Well, let's see what
Yeah.
how we do. We'll talk about the results next time. So, that's what we got for that one.
Love it. Love it. Well, guys, it's always a pleasure. Love talking to you guys once a week and every day in the Discord. Again, if you haven't already, F1MoneyGang.com. That's where we will be posting all our articles, I should say. And in Discord as well, where you can get live updates on anything we're making bets on, just talking about stats, news, everything that will potentially impact your wagers. So thank you to Underdog Fantasy Sports. Again, use the link or F1 Money Game promo code if you want a 100% deposit match. Grid Rivals. Who am I missing? Bovada. I don't know who else we're
Bovada,
missing,
yeah,
but I
that's
think
the
I
only
got
ones, yeah.
I got them all.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, sign up for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps us out. So, we appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you're at the race, hit me up. Let's have a
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah, Chris gonna be there. Have fun at the race, man. Be safe, and I guess we'll talk next week, right, guys?
Yeah.
And-
I might be doing a stream this weekend. So just if you want to jump in, do a live stream, I might be doing that. So
All right, awesome. All right, guys. Well, on to Miami we go. We'll talk next time.
Peace.